Hello and welcome to Purely Finance. In today's video, I'm going to discuss why you shouldn't send your kids to private school and what you should do with that money instead. So this is quite a hot topic currently in the UK, whereby the Labour government have introduced a VAT charge on private school fees. So in effect, the cost of private school tuition has increased by 20%. So the main reason that people would send their kids to private school in the first place would be to give their kids an advantage. You want to give them a better education, which should in turn lead to better job opportunities, which should lead to higher earning potential in the future. However, I'm going to show you that if you were to, instead of paying private tuition fees, invest that money in a low-cost ETF or index fund, I'll show you how their wealth can grow significantly just due to compound interest. By the time they're 18, they're going to have a significant investment portfolio, which they wouldn't have if you'd pumped that into private school fees. So as I say, I would recommend investing in a low-cost index fund or ETF. I'm going to use the historic returns of the S&P 500 to estimate our investment growth over time. So the S&P 500 has averaged around about 10% per annum with dividends reinvested since its inception. So we're going to use that as a basis for our investment growth. I'm going to use investmentcalculator.net to calculate the returns over the schooling life. We're going to assume that you send your kids to private school from the ages of 5 to 18, so you can see how the money will grow and compound over that period of time. I've looked up the median cost of private school tuition in the UK, which is around about £18,000 per annum at the end of 2024. Obviously, if you're from different parts of the country, that may differ. And obviously, if you're from a different country entirely, then the costs could be wildly different. I would recommend just using the estimated costs that you have and then plugging that into the investment calculator. As I say, I'm going to use the website investmentcalculator.net to estimate these returns over time. So yeah, let's get into it. So here's my source for the figure of £18,000 per annum. It's Statista. And you can see at the end of 2024, the figure is just over £18,000 per annum. So which equates to roughly £1,500 per month. And that's the figure we're going to use for our investment calculation over time. Obviously, depending on where you are, that might be different, but this is the figure I'm going to use based from the Statista statistics. And you can see that's only growing over time, so in reality it'll probably be more over time. So here I've plugged in the figures. So you can see the starting amount is $0, and we've assuming they're going to be schooled from the ages of 5 to 18, which is 14 years if you include both years. The return rate, as I stated before, is the historic return of the S&P 500, so that's 10% compounded monthly. And the additional contribution is £1,500 a month, which is £18,000 a year. So you'll see by the time they're 18, they finish their private school, or would have finished their private school education. Because you've decided to invest that money instead of plugging it into private school fees, they're going to have a investment portfolio of around £545,713. Obviously that's in dollars, but this will be in pounds. And you can see that the actual contribution amount will be just over £250,000, and then the interest on that will be £293,713. So huge growth. On this next slide, I'm showing you how this will compound over time. So we're going to assume that your child never makes any more contributions. So all of this growth is based on those original contributions of your private, what would have been your private school fees. So the starting amount is from the previous slide, which is £545,713. And you can see the time period is 47 years. So this will be the period from 18 to the age of 65, which will be the usual retirement age in the UK. Obviously, you could use whatever period you want there to see what it will be at different ages. Again, the return rate is 10%, compounded monthly, additional contribution 0. And you can see by the age of 65, they'll have a net worth of $58,842,487. Bit of a great return. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.